And once again, you are listening to the smooth jazz sounds of WHGE on a Wednesday night here with Rochelle Wilson for the Political Power Hour. We have just concluded our interview with Ms. King for the City Council 2nd District seat. She is running for that seat, and in the house now we have Mr. Steve Washington. Hello, Steve, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. Welcome to the WHGE Political Power Hour.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
And how are you?
I'm pretty good.
Thank you for allowing me this opportunity
Yes.
to sit in here on such a beautiful black radio station. This is hot. I like
That's
it.
right. That's
I
right.
like what's going on here.
Well, we're small. We're
that's
not,
what's going on.
we're not NBC, ABC, but we're getting better. We're growing. We're cleaning up the place. We're making room. We're making it nice so that it'll have a warm and homely feel for when guests like you stop by.
Awesome.
Yes.
I'm digging it.
And we certainly appreciate you being here. So let's get right into the crux of it. Here you're on WHGE. This is you, and this one is mine, and of course this is your mic. So we've got cameras all over the place and microphones. And Steve, you're running for Senate, State Senate, District number 1. I'd like you to tell me a little bit about that. What does that mean exactly?
Running in State Senate District number 1.
Yes.
That means that I decided to put my work in progress to make things better in the district.
Let's get you on mic so you can speak up.
In the city of Wilmington, state of Delaware, and Newcastle County. And it's time for us to really make some good change.
Okay.
It's time for us to give people an opportunity to be included in decision-making processes prior to the decisions being made instead of thereafter. Thus far, for all these years that I've been on Earth, we've been included after decisions had been made to affect our lives, and then we go fighting for our rights when we should have been included prior to.
That's what I hear a lot of the people that I've been talking with here that have sat in the hot seat, is that we need to be more proactive and less reactive.
Oh, of course.
But how do we become more proactive when a lot of us are, so wrapped up in our own worlds, we don't even know what's going on. We don't even know until after it happens.
Well, first and foremost.
How do we be more proactive?
Well, seek first to understand, then to be understood. A lot of times we want people to understand us and we're not being understood from the door, so we got to make sure that we listen. So listen first, begin with the end in mind. Stephen Covey, he practices the 7 habits of highly effective people, and one of them is being proactive. I think win-win, begin with the end in mind, synergize. So with these practices, we put them first and understand it. Actually, we can move forward. A lot of people, let me say this: people's perception is his or her reality. So what I may say it's my reality, but people may perceive it and make what I say their reality, but it's not. It's my reality. So a lot of times I try to say things that make sense of things prior to instead of thereafter. Now I know in Wilmington, Delaware, it's a fixed mindset.
Yes, and we're very cliquish here in this state.
It's a reactive city.
Yes.
And it falls under the good old boy network.
Yes, it does.
And I'm a firm believer that we need to have a growth mindset, be proactive, and transparent. I think those 3 will kind of put us in the beginning of the change stage,
It's so interesting that you just made that statement, which is just, I'm ecstatic about that. I'm so glad you just said that, because not one other elected official or candidate has said that, and my ears heard it. If they said it, I didn't hear them say it.
Right.
That this is a good old boy state.
Oh, big time.
Delaware's a good old boy state. I mean, right over here in Newcastle, they brought the boats over brought the Africans here for slaves. Yeah, this was a port. Wow.
We have so much talent right here in the city of Wilmington, and we go outside of the city and bring in people into these large or these bigger positions, and then they bring people from their state, and then the people that's here, they're not getting opportunity. And that's all we ask for is equal opportunity.
Is there a way that we'll ever be able to get the state of Delaware to not be a good old boy state? Can we get rid of them so we can have some changes and some reform here? If we can get rid of the good old boys, that group of people, okay, or at least sit them off to the side, okay, then we perhaps can get some young, fresh talent, some new talent, such as yourself. You know, the person that that is currently in the State Senate District 1 or Seat 1. I believe you said he's been there for 42 years?
Yes, bless him. Harris McDowell. He's been serving in Senate for 42 years. He's retiring this year, and we have an opportunity. I'm running as a Republican.
Okay.
And a lot of people that are Democrat, I need them to seek first to understand, and then seek first to understand, then to be understood. And the first thing that they think when you say you're running as a Republican, you're an enemy of the state. And one of the things we have to do, especially being African American, we have to go inside a party to make change. Change doesn't start on the outside. All change starts on the inside. So if you can go inside and make your platform a marketable platform inside of a party, they will utilize it. I have a marketable platform that's good for the Democratic Party. However, the Democratic leadership has already had someone in mind to serve in that position as the legislator or as the state senator before Harris McDowell even decided to retire. So we want to make sure that we get an opportunity. And if you look like me, you just might want to this time vote Republican when you see Stephen Washington's name on the ballot, because I'm going to speak to education, and I'm not talking about education reform. I'm talking about education transform, because our education system needs to be transformed so that it speaks to people and not speak to a test or an assessment. What I'm saying right now is that a lot of times our curriculum design speaks to assessments. And our curriculum really should be designed to speak to the interests of the child so that he or she can then be successful. I mean, I'm going to be quite frank with you. If I'm interested in something, I'm going to put time in it. If I'm not interested in it, I definitely don't care whether, it goes or not goes, So that's one of the things that we have to do. We have to think about the transformation of education. We have to like I said, design a curriculum that doesn't speak to just middle and upper middle class, but speaks to poverty. Because because our curriculum right now, the Common Core State Standard, remember, I said this is me. Remember, my perception is my reality. This is not yours. So when I'm speaking in terms of the Common Core State Standards, it's a good curriculum, but according to Bill Gates, who was one of the designers of Common Core, called it a failure. It was a failed experiment for him. I question why are we still utilizing it. But at any rate, if we begin to look at the child, find out what his or her interest is, or we will then design that curriculum to speak to them.
Well, I think it's been proven that not all, but a very large number of our black, brown, and golden children are indeed, they're kinetic learners. So they need to be engaged. They need to feel it, touch it, see it, be a part of it, breathe it, in order for it to really make sense to them. If they want to be a carpenter, then I don't think housekeeping and cookery is, home economics is going to catch their attention at all. So I like the idea of kind of making it individual for each student, letting them pick their own curriculum so they'll be more successful rather than us picking it and then maybe they fall by the wayside, something that as a teacher I've seen too many of our children do.
Well, think about it. When we think about an IEP, or for learning disability, or special education, we have IEPs, and IEPs is an individualized education plan. So individualized education plans should not necessarily be for special education or learning disability. It should be for people that have an interest, because those who have learning disabilities are interested in something. We
Yes.
just got to tap into their interest.
What is their interest?
And the Common Core state standards, or what we're teaching in school, doesn't tap into their interest. All you got to do is go outside and see all the shooting, all the gang violence, all the black kids killing each other because they somewhere along the line was in school and they wasn't being successful. So where am I going to be successful? I'm not being successful in school. By the way, that's my grandfather up there. But
Are you serious?
I just saw that. Sorry about that. But where if I'm not successful in school, I'm not going to stay in school. I'm going to do anything by any means necessary to get out of school. And then when I get out of school, what do I have to do? Oh, I got to make a living. Because my mom's not going to let me stay at home.
Right.
How am I going to make a living? Because I don't have a job. Yeah, what's up, brother? So my man over there, he put me in the game. Now I'm in the game. Right? Now I'm in the game, but that same other person across the street is not being successful in school. Now he's in the game too. So now we on each side of the corner doing the same thing in a different way, but on that side of the corner, this kid's making more money than the kid on this side. What happens then?
Yes.
Here comes the violence.
Here comes the violence.
You know, so we gotta make sure that we have a curriculum.
You know, that's the thing that I don't think a lot of people outside of our nationality, they don't get that. Like, I don't think they comprehend the thinking and how we think about it. You see what I'm saying? Like, we were young once.
That's right.
We were young. I was a badass when I was young. I was awful. I was absolutely awful. I thank God, but by the grace of God, that I'm not who I used to be.
Good.
As a young person. I've matured. But in my mindset then, I can relate to what the kids are saying now. It's not that much different. And what you're saying as a black man, you know, is what some of these young black males on the corners, they were thinking the same thing.
Yeah. And the thing about it is that they're out there, but like I said, seek first to understand, then to be understood. But we want them to understand us, but we're not seeking first to listen to what they have to say. Because all they want to do is be heard. They want you to know what is going on and why they are like they are. I notice in the school district, or in the school system, we're not teaching black or African American studies. I get it. So, in my seminar class, this is what I would like to do this year. I would like to take a genealogy kit and teach genealogy in my class, because that speaks to African American, Polish, white, Caucasian, Caucasoid. It speaks to everything. So now you're learning about yourself, and then you're learning about where you came from, and then who you are. Because I'm going to be quite honest with you, many of us in the United States, black people, we don't know where we are. We don't know who we are. And then if we had an idea as to who we are, then say, dang, my great-grandfather was a king.
Yes.
We start looking at that.
Yes.
You see what I mean?
If they knew that would change just like that. It would click them.
You can't change people. However, you can change the situation. And the only
people
way
can change themselves.
That's where they say that. The only way you change situations by change within yourself. You are so correct.
So, what are some of the other things that are on your platform? And tell us a little bit about State Senate District 1. Tell us about that.
State Senate District 1 has been gerrymandered, so it's all over the place. It encompasses all of Claymont, little bit of Edgemoor. It encompasses the Highlands up there by the Delaware Art Museum, Brandywine Hills, the Upper Ninth Ward, where I need your votes. I definitely need your votes in the Upper Ninth Ward and Brandywine Hills. A little bit of Concord Avenue, Bellefonte, all the way up to Darley Road, Darley Green, Ashbourne Hills. So it's all over the place.
That is all over the place.
But and it's Brandywine School District.
That's like dots all over the place.
It is. And canvassing, I'm really becoming a little frustrated, because I'm like, how on earth is right across the street District 2, and I'm right here and this is District 1?
Yes.
It should all be District 1.
You know, right here by the station, the studio, across the street is District 4,
Sure.
I believe. Michelle Harley, and then over here on this side of the street is Xanthia Oliver. Unbelievable. Like, I don't get how they divide and conquer the city, but anyway, okay. So What are some of your passions? I just heard you talk about education, and I think that's a great place to start. And if you get into that, most likely, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I would think somewhere along that journey, you're going to run into maybe a relationship with Senator Lockman, Tizzy Lockman. And so, you know, she's really big on education. But what are some of the other platforms that you have, and do you have relationships with some of these people?
I have relationships, but it seems like as I run as Republican. Did I say that? I'm sorry.
Yes. People don't know what... Black people don't know that we started as Republicans.
Yeah.
We started as Republicans.
The Democrats once upon a time were the Dixiecrats who enslaved black people. Then we want to get rid of the Second Amendment, but I'm a firm believer that it's better to have and not need than to need and not have. Because if there was no guns, would slavery have been history? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't go there. But at any rate, yes, I know Senator Lockman, Senator Brown. We have to have these conversations because I believe that I'm inside in the education component. I could tell you about curriculum. I could tell you about unreported data. You know, so a lot of data that people receive is the data that's reported. There's a lot of unreported data that we don't know about. There's a lot of implicit biases that go on in education.
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
We, you know, but, and then when we speak in terms of being black in education, we have somehow been miseducated due to the curriculum that has been designed for people that aren't black or brown.
Well, look at Christopher Columbus. I always use that as an example. We've got a generation of kids thinking Christopher Columbus discovered America. What a farce. And now that Black Lives Matter is out, we've got all these statues coming down and the truth is being revealed. And kids are running around, teenagers are running around like, really? Like they had no idea.
Well, and to remove those statues, there's some reason behind that. Don't pacify me with a statue to remove it. There's something else in hand, because they don't just remove things for black people like that fast.
That was pretty quick, wasn't it?
So it's got to be a plan B.
Mayor Przicki jumped on that, the Rodney, was it Rodney King? Rodney Square. Rodney Square statue? Yes, yes.
I really don't have a problem with Mike Przicki, the mayor.
I like Mike Przicki.
I think that we have to seek first to understand, then to be understood, and we have to get out of our emotions. Because I mean, a lot of people respond out of emotions. You know, they're lacking emotions and understanding. And I think everybody really means well. You know, but it's a matter of just trying to get along. I think that when we speak in terms of, like, people do speak in terms of Black Lives Matter, we have to Black Lives Matter to black people.
Yes, I agree with you.
If we could matter to black people, I'm a firm believer that we can then matter to other people. So we really have to knock that in the head, and people have to understand it's going to start in the classroom. It has got to start there where we are educating our kids. I know sometimes the parents are not coming to the school, but the family structure has been broken down. I speak in terms of family structure being broken down, and then I'm being considered transphobic or homophobic. And I'm speaking in terms of the structure of the black family being broken down, or structure of the nuclear family being broken down, because I happen to serve on the board of parole.
Yes.
So,
do you?
Yes. So by serving on the board of parole, I happen to go into the prison twice a month, and I see black men, I see Puerto Rican men, I see white men. So if they're in jail and they have children, and mommy's at home and daddy's not home with mommy, that structure or that foundation is broken down.
There's no way to talk about the black family without talking about incarceration. Now, isn't that interesting?
Pretty much.
There's no way to have a dialogue, a simple conversation about the structure of the black family without mentioning that the man has been taken from the family in many cases and put into the prison for profits. What is going on with that? Is there anything that you can do about that if we elect you into this seat?
Definitely. I see what's going on. I see how education impacts. I happen to be on Wilmington Housing Authority, too, as a commissioner.
Really?
So I see how education impacts all three of these areas. And they program you, and you get all kinds of programs and treatment when you're in jail, but you're not getting that education component. And that's the part where it's taking the GED, which is now technology-based. And when it's technology-based, it makes it hard for these ones that were special ed prior to going in. And it's still special ed when they're in, but they don't have accommodations or modifications. So what happens is that they're not taking and passing that test. And you need that part for when you come back out so you don't recidivize. You know, so you can go get that job and fill out that application. So you can talk to the interviewer and make sense of what he's asking, the questions that he or she's asking.
Well, I can say that as a member of the committee for the Department of Education for the Department of Corrections,
Sure.
They are working diligently on and it's not the Department of Education, it's the Department of Correction that's having the problem, allowing us to get in there and do what needs to be done to educate them so they don't recidivate.
That's right. That's right. So we're missing a lot of components, and that's why, as a Republican, we need to get me in office, because then we have black people on both sides of the aisle. Just having black folk on one side of the aisle doesn't mean a pot of beans, or it doesn't mean anything if you don't have us all over the aisles. Okay. You know what I mean? Because I'm one that can go across the aisle. My platform speaks to every issue, you know, and I speak to that because that's I'm an educator, and that's what I see, and that's what I do. Yeah. So I know how it impacts what we think. I know how it impacts the thought process. But then we get challenged. See, I happen to be running as a Republican. The Democratic leadership, and I don't say all Democrats, I speak in terms of leadership, are pushing, you know, the person that they would like to have in office. I don't know if that's cool, I don't know if that's right, but everybody needs an opportunity to show or express his or her talent. So I wasn't getting that opportunity that I should have gotten. So I'm running as a Republican where I'm getting that opportunity to help us, City of Wilmington.
Actually, you know, I didn't want to get into Republican or Democrat
Sure.
or any of that. It's all the content of your character. What kind of human being are you? Sure. What kind of public servant will you be if I cast my vote in your corner? Will you serve the things that I believe are important? But I have to say, again, and if you didn't hear me the first time, let me say that again loud enough for you to hear it. As black, brown, and golden people in the original days,
Sure.
we were all Republicans because we had a republic government, a governing, self-governing, the common laws. We knew what they were. They were passed down through generation, and everyone respected the common law. It was republic. And so don't hate the Republicans. You know, I'm not saying hate the Democrats. I'm not saying hate anyone. I'm simply saying don't just vote based on Democrat or Republican. Look at the content of a person's character. That's who you have to vote for your public servant. And that's my thought. Rochelle Wilson, that's my thought.
And have somebody that can see out of your lens. I mean, if I know the city of Wilmington, and you know that I'm born and reared here, I would take, and I'm alive.
Right.
You know, I may need to be this old. I know about Lower School, Mary C.I. Williams, Bayard. I know about Wilmington High School prior to desegregation and then after desegregation. So if I kind of know a little bit about Wilmington, you might just want to vote for me, because I'm gonna tell you right now, I have your best interest at heart. I have your children's best interest at heart. I've been in education now 30 years, so I know what the deal is. I mean, you don't want to just put somebody in there because they are in the know with that circle of people that's not inclusive but exclusive. You want to get someone in there that's going to really work for you. And I'm going to tell you this. When I lost running for mayor in 2016, as I did run as an independent, I didn't disappear. I stayed around, and I still helped to get our curriculum, to get our agenda still out there. You know, so if you know about historical black colleges and universities, HBCU, I founded the HBCU Delaware Coalition. I'm Norfolk State Alumni Chapter President. We know all about that. So I'm in the know. We have awards, I have all kinds of awards that I received from the city of Wilmington. But that's not what it's about. What it's about is putting in that fight because of our children. And you want to have somebody that has your children's best interests at heart. I know how to stop some of this crime. All you got to do is put them in the school and get this curriculum designed to speak to their interests. I guarantee you it will change.
You know, I have to say, I pretty much believe that you're right on that one. Because not 30 years, but I do have 12 years. My little 12 years as a high school teacher taught me that children are children. Children that look like you and I, they have to have individualized educational programs, and not from the perspective that everyone thinks is the little yellow bus where you're stupid or you're slow, but from the other perspective, this is the road or the track for success.
Yeah.
So, but you said something earlier that caught my attention. You said the 9th Ward, you really need their vote, which gives me the impression, and I don't know what the 9th Ward is, but they must not look like you.
No, they do. They're the ones that do look like me.
Oh, they do?
Yes, but...
Okay, so...
But here again, if you run as a Republican...
Oh, that's what they're confused.
You don't look like...
Oh,
you actually really look like them, but you have to express to... You have to educate people. You have to acknowledge people about the voting process. You have to let them know the reason as to why you're running for a particular office. I'm not going to get into the reason why I'm not going to get into the other person to run, because there is a primary for the Democratic Party.
Yes.
You know, and their reasons is their reasons, but I'm talking about what I can do for the community and what I'm going to do for the community.
Don't we vote for state senates on September 15th?
That's
the primary?
That's the primary.
Okay.
So if you're a Democrat in the primary, you have to vote all Democrat.
Okay.
If you're Republican in the primary, you have to vote Republican. If you're independent, you're not even in the primary. So if you are, and when it's the general election on November 3rd, if you're Democrat, you can still vote Republican.
Okay.
If you're Republican, you can vote Democrat. So you can vote across the aisle in the general election.
But the primary is basically letting us know who's from which side is going to be in the general election.
Exactly.
Okay, so we need to make these decisions, people.
Yes.
You know, we don't have a lot of time. September is literally right around the corner, and we don't have a lot of time. So we've got to figure out who are we going to put in these seats, regardless whether it's Democrat, Republican, but you've got to make a decision. And you've got to cast your ballot, because your voice is your vote. Your vote is your voice. You know, this is very important. This is something I really just, I don't care who they vote for. Just vote.
That's right.
That's my thing. I want our black and brown and golden community to just vote.
I know people have died for us to have the right to vote.
Yes.
Now people die because we don't vote.
Yes. How about that?
So we want to make sure that you get out and vote, and you want to vote for the person and don't look at the party. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't get in office for District 1 Senator. There's going to be a change that's going to blow your mind, and you're not going to be happy with it. So I'm giving you the opportunity to take advantage of voting for Steve Washington for District 1 State Senator. If it doesn't happen, I'm not going to say I told you so. I'm going to let you experience it yourself, because there's a lot of things coming down the pipe, and if you don't believe me, you do the research.
Yes.
Okay, find out who I'm running against, find out who's the Democrats, find out that I'm Republican, find out my stance or my position. And you can find out my position by going to my my website, which is votestevewashington.com. Okay?
votestevewashington.com. votestevewashington.com.
That easy. You can also go to my email address or Gmail, and it's Steve Washington for SD1@gmail.com.
Say that again for us.
And that's Steve Washington for SD1@gmail.com.
Okay.
You can even call me. But if you go to that website, you can find out what my telephone number is. Because
Yes.
I refuse to put it out here on the
Yes.
You know, so but we really have to vote. I need your vote. You don't understand. I ran for mayor in 2016 as an independent so that we would have another opportunity to still get an African American in office. And you know what? Because the Democrats, you have about 10 people running as Democrat for mayor, and they all lost. Only one person could win. So I ran as an independent. We still had an opportunity, and we still didn't take advantage of our opportunity. You don't take advantage of it now, you're going to miss out, because I'm going to let you know for sure that pretty soon the black vote's not going to count. Simply because we are not reproducing. Secondly, most of the black men are going to jail, just from school to jail. Thirdly, the Puerto Rican race is reproducing, and they building family. So they're going to be the majority, and we are definitely going to be a minority like a champ. So you better take heed to what I'm saying, Wilmington, Delaware, because this is not a joke. Stop playing, and I'm telling you right now, you have an opportunity to get people in office that you would love to have in office if you vote. Be an educated voter. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me.
Yes, and there is no such thing as a stupid question. The only stupid question is the one that you don't ask.
That's right.
If you don't know, just ask. No one's going to think you're dumb because you don't have the answer to it. I mean, after all, we are talking politics here, okay? It's not the easiest thing to comprehend. Ask your questions, get online, find out things. And if you're a person that has a little bit of difficulty with Googling and going online and, today's technology, which is really, that's what they're doing is technology. I know even my seniors, my grown and sexy seniors over 65 and 70, you've got some grandchildren somewhere. You've got some young people running around the neighborhood somewhere that you can trust that will help you to Google and do the research and find out the answers to the questions. Do not be afraid to do the Google research and find the answers to the questions.
And you're so right about that.
Yes.
Google, I talk to my Google machine every day.
I love Google.
Tell you, wake me up.
I love Google.
My Google machine wakes me up at 6:30. I talk to her. She said, "Would you leave that thing on?" I was, okay. But listen, I know people are looking for jobs. People are looking for employment.
Yes.
And I know that you need to work. But we want to make sure that you have every tool that you need so you can be successful at or on a job. A lot of times we just take any job. No, we need the top jobs. Don't settle for $15 an hour minimum wage, because I'm going to tell you what, if you live in Section 8, I can tell you a little bit about that too. But if you live in Section 8 and you're paying $100 for rent, and then you get a voucher for $900, so your rent is $1,000, and all you have to pay is $100. If you're making $12 an hour, and you move to $15 an hour, that $100 that you're paying is going to increase, because guess what? Your rent is going to increase. Okay, so you got to be mindful about what you ask for, because you just may get it.
Well, that's true too. But I want to say something about that. As a young woman coming up, I'm not from Delaware. I'm born and raised somewhere else. And I migrated here because my family brought me here. But there was a point in my life as a Delawarean woman where I had to reach out and receive the assistance of the Wilmington Housing Authority. It was one of the best things that ever happened to me. I made so many friends, met so many people, had a beautiful home. It was amazing. But today, right now, I can take you to a house that's right up the street from my block. And I live in a very quiet, a decent neighborhood, lots of seniors, older people. We sweep up our block, we clean up, except for this one house, and they're Wilmington Housing Authority tenants. What is Wilmington Housing Authority? Something has to be done about the scanning process, about putting people in houses in neighborhoods. Like, something's got to be done about that.
I think that's a very good question. As a commissioner of Wilmington Housing Authority, what I can do is I will reach out and find out what the process is, and we want to make sure that we begin to mandate education. And I'll have to go back to that, because
Yes.
because you're not going to get a job without education. And education is a tool for motivation. which is going to get you from point A. It's the vehicle.
Well, when we talk about education and black, brown, and golden children, I want to talk and use the word trade skills.
That's good.
Because in the 70s, the trades were taken away, the manufacturing jobs were taken away from our black men and brown men because other nationalities were so concerned that they were going to take all the jobs and there would be no jobs for them. So, the trades were all taken away. And of course, that's just another exacerbating point to the incarceration. Okay, I mean, you name it, everything became the vagrancy laws where I couldn't lean up against a black man, could not lean up against a building like a courthouse. Just lean. Maybe I'm tired, I need to rest for a minute. Just lean. I would go to jail for that.
Oh, wow.
This is just one of the vagrancy laws. So everything became a matter of incarceration and no jobs. And it's just a mess. But when we look at our young people today, and you talk about education, you have to use the word trade.
Well, when I speak in terms of education, that does include trade. Because, education, when I say education, forgive me, it's not just talking college. Education is the field that makes all other fields possible. And that's including the trade field. Okay. So I'm not speaking in terms of education that you have to go to college. You don't.
Yes, because every young person is not college material.
You don't, but get the basics. Basic math.
Yes.
Basic language arts. Basic social studies.
Yes.
Basic science. Basic reading. Learn how to write in cursive. Or
yes.
Learn how to tell time on an analog clock.
Yes.
We're not teaching these skills. These skills are lifetime skills. Once you learn how to tell time, you're good to go.
They consider those skills as obsolete or prehistoric dinosaur skills because now everything is computers. We're on the computers everywhere. Everything is technology. And people like me, I'm a 60s baby. I don't understand it. But I am so quick to go and get me a young person. I'll snatch up a young person from anywhere. Hey, baby, come here, help me with something.
Yes. We got to start loving our children. We got to begin to, we got to help them because that generation right now is killing each other. They're killing each other off like every single day.
Yes.
And you're right. One of my students, as he says, it's not okay. He was one of my students.
Yes.
The young man when you were out there the other time when Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
Can't think of his name right now, but we got to begin to love, but we have to begin to help each other. I can't talk to you and not help you out, telling you what I would do. What's going on? Something's going on with the youth today, and we got to have the conversation. We have the dialogue about it, because they're looking for love. They don't want to harm each other.
Yeah.
But they got access to guns.
I'll tell you, and I don't want to take up too much of your time in telling you this short story, but I have to say, again, going back to this one particular house in my neighborhood, okay, that really has a lot of action. And that's a nice way to say it, right? It's the only house in the whole neighborhood that the police know by name.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the police know this house by name. Whenever someone calls the police, they know exactly which house to go to, and it's a WHA house. But there's a group of children, okay, lots and lots and lots and lots of young people are at this particular house. But there's this little group of kids, about 6 of them, and I'd say they range anywhere from age 10 to maybe the oldest might be 14, 15 years old. I've been soliciting them to help me to do odd and end jobs. $5 here. Help me to do this and do that, and I'll buy you some lunch.
Sure.
Do you know that these are the same kids that have, I don't want to snitch on them as they say, but they have done some illegal activities in my neighborhood. But since I have begun this relationship with them, when they see me, they're like, "Hi, Miss Rochelle, do you need us to do anything today?" They want the attention. They want to have responsibilities. They need to know someone cares. If nothing else, they know they can get in the car with Miss Rochelle, and we're going to go to Wawa and get some smoothies.
Good.
And they love that. And in the car, the ride it takes from my house, from the neighborhood to the Wawa, we talk about hygiene. Because I tell them, I'm turning on the air, roll down the windows because somebody needs a shower.
Right.
You boys, you're getting ready to go and learn about girls, or you girls, you're going to learn about boys, you got to wash.
That's right.
They love it. They don't fuss at me or curse me out or want to shoot me as an adult saying these things to them. No, they're looking for soap and water. You know what I mean? So I believe that community involvement, us as grown-ups, if we get involved with them, that will change their lives.
Yes, for sure. And we have to. We have to, in every aspect. And we have to be more sensitive to our kids. You know, we have to try to understand. I know it's hard sometimes. I know it's hard. I got children of my own.
You want to take a stick?
but we have to, because we're in small Wilmington, and the youth, they need us, not to put them down, but to pick them up.
Yes.
They need us, and we have to be available for them. I mean, if we want to change this, we could go out and protest all we want. You can protest until our cows come home, but you have to really begin to pick them up. I mean, knock on the door, how you doing? You know, I don't have a problem going to my students' houses, knock, hey, it's me. You know, I'm doing that a lot when I'm canvassing.
Right,
I'm killing two birds with one stone.
Right.
But I'm saying, we're feeding two birds with one.
Yes.
I don't have killing.
Not killing, but feeding. Okay.
Yeah. But we want to make sure that we are picking them up, and picking up the family. Right now, our kids, they're in, what is it? They're in survival mode. You know what I mean? They feel like everything's a survival mode. Like, I don't trust nobody.
I think a lot of them are afraid too.
Yeah.
Because in our day, when we were growing up, it was a good old, you know, I put my shoulder to your shoulder, and whoever knocked the stone off, then it was a nice little squabble, and that was it. And the next day we were back playing, we were friends. Now I think they're afraid to get hurt. Mm-hmm. I think they're petrified of getting punched in the eye. The embarrassment of it. Mm-hmm. Oh, you got punched in the eye. Oh, you got a bloody nose. Like the humiliation. They can't handle that.
We won't get chilled. Like, we have to, even with some of youth programs, I mean, sometimes it's so difficult for a child or the parents to fill out the paperwork to get a job. I see these little kids out there on the corner, and they selling waters. You know,
I've seen that.
You know, I mean, make that a job for those kids, and I know there's some funding somewhere to get all those kids out there working and selling waters. You can even do that with the homeless. We are in a country where there should not be any homelessness. Now,
and you know what? I buy water from those kids every single time I pass them. Till the back seat of my car is like 5 or 6.
Exactly. I just give them a couple dollars, and I don't even want the water. I already have water.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm saying that even homelessness, you know, you have to, what do they call them, penny handlers, whatever.
Panhandlers.
Panhandlers.
Yes, yes.
They need to get some water and sell that water too to work, earn your keep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's opportunity for everyone. And we gotta get Wilmington back. Wilmington used to be a very, very, very nice place where you could walk downtown around Christmas time on West 4th Street, and you see the Christmas lights all the way down the hill.
Yes.
Then they have the big old parade.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the things that they did, which bothered me, was when they, you know, that's the only thing I'm not happy about what the city did, was got rid of Jackson Street Boys Club.
My God.
And they should have kept the club and just did something with that.
Yes, that was historical. I fault us for letting them tear it down. Yes, I used to teach classes in there, HIV and AIDS prevention classes, where we teach young people how to not get sick. Mm-hmm. You know?
They're making things that's not normal. They're making wrong right and making what's right wrong. And we as black people have to understand, like, when we speak in terms of LBGQ, and I don't have an issue with them, but our movement for black people was all about us being treated equally, treated more than 3/5 of a man. Mm-hmm. And now the LBGQ, I get it, but their fight is for a behavior.
Yes.
More so.
Yes.
And to make that behavior acceptable. Fine, it's accepted. You know, if that's the case, but we gotta not forget what our fight is. I'm okay
Yes.
to be a black man,
Yes.
and I'm fighting for black people. I have to. Not that I don't like white people, because I like white people. I just love black people.
Yes,
You
and
see
there's
what I mean?
nothing wrong with loving
You know,
your own.
and-
as for the
GQ.
GQ,
GQ should be Gentlemen's Quarterly.
I know.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
I don't know the name, whatever,
Yeah.
for our gay and lesbian
Yeah,
and transgender
and that's fine.
communities. You know, whatever you want to be, however you want to get down, that's between you and the God that you serve. My thing is, I'm insulted when you call it a civil rights movement, because when I think of civil rights, I think of Rosa Parks sitting on the bus in 1954. I think of Martin Luther King being killed in 1964. I think of, you know, Malcolm X and Nelson Mandela. That was civil rights. Okay, what the other people are doing, they do have a movement.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they can compare their movement to ours, because no one has ever told them they couldn't sit at the front of the bus. No one has ever taken away their right to vote. You know, or they didn't have vagrancy laws that say if you leaned up against the courthouse, you were going to jail. They don't have massive incarceration for being gay. So we do for just being black. So I want them to call their movement something else. The LBG, all of that movement, but not civil rights movement. I'm insulted by that, and I will tell them that. And it's nothing personal against their practice. Just don't call it that.
And it makes it difficult because as I'm running, I'm running against pretty much an agenda. You know, LBGQ is running for first district state senator, and when I speak in terms of family, the structure of the family is being broken down, I'm considered homophobic or transphobic. And it has everything to do with me going into the prison system. Has nothing to do with. So it's like, you know, we don't want to have the black and white conversations because they're difficult conversations because implicit bias. But I don't want to be implicitly biased about LBGQ. I want to understand that I understand what they're feeling, but my fight is that if we don't pass bills, we can't vote. My fight is that as a black male teacher, we are treated worse than any black male in any other field. My fight is that every time a cop pulls me over, I gotta be scared.
Yeah.
That's a black fight. We're
Yes.
fighting because what we have experienced, we're still being considered less than a man. And now we're trying to be minimized lower than that now. You know, take the man out. You know, take God out. Whenever you take God out, there's destruction. I mean, that's just anywhere.
Yes.
And I don't have a problem with anybody being who they are. I love you in spite of. But your fight is not the same fight. My
Yes.
fight is about rights. Your fight is about behavior.
Yes.
To make right.
Yes.
And it's okay. But I mean, you can't say anything about me because I love my black and I wanna do everything I can to help black people. And I want to help white people. I want to help poor people. I go
Yes.
up in Norwood where it's an opioid crisis and I'm talking to the people.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And they struggling. And it all has to go back to education.
And really, it's not even here in many of the inner city communities across the nation. It's not about black and white, because we have a large number of white people who live right here in the hood with us. Okay? It's about economics.
Economics, you're correct.
Economics and education, the double E's. Okay, right here we've got white people, all nationalities right here in the hood. But based on the amount of money you make at your job will determine, do you live here or do you live over there? Regardless of your color.
That's right. It's based on lack. Their lack. When there's their lack, there's going to be an issue.
So if we elect you into the state Senate seat
Yes.
for District 1, what will be one of the first things that you would like to champion? I hear a lot coming out of you about education, but I want to know for sure, what would be one of the first things that you would gather with your comrades or whatever to champion?
Well, I basically want to write a legislation to design curriculums to speak to the interests of children, to keep them in school, to change that law that they could drop out of school at 16.
Yeah.
You know, to bring unity within a community, give an equal opportunity for everyone. I want to get people out of jail that should not be in jail. There's a lot of people in jail from a cocaine charge and doing like 33 years, where there might be a white man who did manslaughter and is doing 11 years. We have to change that. You know what I mean? And that's across the board.
Yeah.
I mean, we need more people to get actively involved. Don't just be a part of society, be in society to make change.
Be a part of the solution, not the problem.
Just think about this financially. Good change makes good sense. Think about that.
You're listening to Rochelle Wilson.
I'll let you marinate on it.
And Steve Washington,
Yeah.
who is running for state senate for the 1st District. This is the Political Power Hour with Rochelle Wilson at WHGE. Here every Wednesday from 7 until 9, because up until September 15th, we are doing the double dosage. So every Wednesday there will be 2 people here now for these interviews and for you to get to know them. And that's all we're here for. I don't care about color, nationality, your race, your gender. I do not care about Democrat or Republic. I started this Political Power Hour simply so that I could introduce you, the listening audience, to the candidates and let you decide for yourself. You are an intelligent being and you can make your own decision. I simply want to give you an opportunity to get to know who's running and for what position. So. And
I also need help, and I need you to just come out and canvas with me. We have such a good time. I'll feed you. I can't pay you, but I'll feed you. So we have a good old time. Just come out and canvas. I mean, you'll be surprised of your community, of some of the very nice areas of District 1 and some of the very low areas of District 1. So you'll be surprised at what you see, because I'm telling you what happens, it just may motivate you. I mean, and I promise you that. But one of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to fight hard for you. I'm going to do whatever. And one of the basic things you're going to know before any legislation is put forth, you're going to know about it prior to. Because when you get it thereafter, you can best believe it's going to pass. And a lot of times you get information after it's already been put through the wash. But right now, I want you to know and be able to find out about what's ready to come down the pike. That's how we got to do.
Transparency. We need that.
Big time.
So give us your number again in closing. Folks want to reach out to help you, to canvas or to make donations or whatever. How can they reach you?
If you want to make a donation, you can go to votestevewashington.com. That is my website. That's VOTE, Steve, STEVE, Washington, WASHINGTON.com. Or you can even call me at 630. I'm going to give this to you. And don't just be calling me playing no games. My number is area code 302-602-5149. Reach out to me so we can dialogue and talk about some of the things that might be happening in your life and how we can make things better, because that's what it's about. And my Gmail account is stevewashington4sd1@gmail.com. I need your support. I love you. God bless you. God keep you.
And there you go, folks. Steve Washington for the State Senate 1st District. He is asking for your vote. He is a Republican, but he is a man of character with 30 years, was it? 30 years of educational background, working with schools and children. So the man is a learned man. He's an intelligent man. Give him your consideration and perhaps your vote. If he has said some things that you like, if you think that he is going to stand on the platforms for you, for what you believe in, then consider him and give him your vote on September 15th in the primary. All right, folks, that's it for us tonight for the Political Power Hour. I cannot thank you enough for joining us, for staying tuned, for listening in, for chiming in, and get to know Get to know the person who is attempting to become your public servant. Find out if they work for you. And I'll see you right back here on Sunday. This is Rochelle Wilson for Make Some Intelligent Noise on behalf of the Political Power Hour saying thank you. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. Karma is real.
Good. Get this.